Hello? Hello? Is this thing on? Guys, we have made it to the 20th episode of Aligned Identity. Cheers, applause all around. We have made it. So, one cool milestone with having 20 episodes is that the 21st officially puts us in the top 1% of podcasts. After 20 podcasts, you are now within the 1% of podcasts. Most of the time, people stop at 20. So, we're not going to celebrate yet. Wait till next week for number 21, and we'll be having a giveaway and a little celebration to be in the top 1% of podcasts. Dedication is important. Consistency is important. Those are things that I'll always preach. One thing that I don't talk about a lot is burnout. Now, I think each and every one of us, in our own ways, has gone through a bout of burnout. For me, at the moment, I have been going through what I would call a creative block. I feel like my mind is racing a million miles a minute. I just feel like I should be doing so many more things, and I just think, oh, I need to be learning this. I could learn that. I could do this. I could do that. I could do this. I could start this. I could do that. You get the gist. You've probably been there. At the moment, I'm getting past that. I'm starting to feel better. I'm starting to lock in, starting to kind of feel myself, right? But this past 2 weeks, I've been really, I want to say down, but I've just been really blocked. I've just been really consumed by my thoughts, and that is good and bad. And the good, I think it's the sense that I'm wanting to grow, right? Like I'm wanting to get better. I'm wanting to do things. And sometimes I don't know where to go. I don't know where to continue or to pick up new friends, new hobbies, you name it. New business, who knows? But I hit a point where I realized part of my burnout is just I'm overwhelming myself with thoughts and what ifs or ideas. And, I started jotting them down on notepads and on, my phone, my notepads. I carry a notepad everywhere. But and I was just scrolling through my notes, and I started going through a list of people that I want to interview. And I have been having a hard time. I've messaged a couple people, and sometimes I get ghosts and crickets, but that's okay. I have a hard time dealing with I don't know if it's denial, maybe it is. It's acceptance. One thing that I'm not quite adept to is reaching out to people, and people that I may not know on a very good basis, or people that I'm really interested in talking to, but I'm almost too nervous to reach out. For some reason, I have this feeling like I'm bothering them. And I talked to my boss about it this week, and he's like, man, this is part of your growth, is getting used to someone telling you no, and someone not responding to your emails, someone not responding to your invite. But you have to continue to put yourself in those situations and learn from it and grow, and maybe find some balance and almost happiness, and knowing that you're trying and you're putting in the work that you have to, and getting cold calls out of the way. I do not envy cold callers, but in a way I've realized that to get some of the guests that I want to have on this podcast, I have to put myself out there, and I have to be ready to put myself in an uncomfortable situation just to engage in an introduction or, you know, things along that lines. And that's kind of where my mind has just been going AWOL. I've been trying to fill this guest list up and, maybe reoccurring guests, you name it. I've thought about a ton of millions of options. Joe Rogan hasn't got back to me yet, but he'll get back soon, I'm sure. I just have to get used to being uncomfortable. And that goes back to many podcasts that I've talked about it, but like that uncomfortable feeling is something that we want to like push away from. And I realize that it's just me not used to that situation, and I got to grow from this. I got to continue to get used to being uncomfortable until the point where me reaching out to certain people doesn't feel like a reach. I don't feel like I'm bothering somebody, because at the end of the day, all I want is a conversation. I just want to tell people stories. I want to try to give information. I want to try to have people be able to learn from the people that I bring on here, and have you learn from me too, from my personal experiences. I don't like feeling like someone owes me something, or, I hate that feeling that, I ask something of someone. That's a feeling that I think a lot of people can relate to, is like asking for help, or, asking someone to help you with anything in a general sense. I don't know if it's pride, but for me, I realize I just don't like the idea that, I always think in my head that someone's going to feel offended, right? Like someone's going to be so pissed off that I had reached out to them, or, something along those lines. That's how I work it up in my head. But in reality, someone's either going to ghost me, tell me no, or who knows? They're going to be like, hey, that sounds like a great idea. I'd love to come on to the podcast. And that's what's important, is recognizing that, you work things up in your head, and you will be surprised when you actually implement it into the real world, when you can get past those crazy thoughts that you're just running around in. And be confident in yourself. Be confident in the fact that you're learning and you're growing. And there's gonna be 100 no's before you get a yes. And that could be in cold calling, that could be in sales, you could take that wherever you want. You have to learn how to get used to no. And my industry has always been in manufacturing, so I've never had to worry about no. It's always one mission, one goal, let's accomplish it. But I have to learn. And, that's what I think has been so tiresome, is the fact that, I know what I need to do, and it's just so uncomfortable, and it feels like it's pulling me in a million directions, because I don't want to do it, but I know I have to, and I know it's going to help me be better. So with that, that's my mind going a million miles a minute, and me kind of relating to you guys, kind of like what I'm going through. And, if anyone listening, I hear you. If you have the same kind of feelings, we have to learn to kind of grow and get used to being uncomfortable. And I think it's just been a minute since I've had to be uncomfortable and learn something completely new, because the gym is no longer a thing that necessarily is difficult for me. It's brushing my teeth. So I don't even necessarily get like a dopamine from that. When I do it, I don't feel like I carry on a win throughout the day like I used to. When you first start something, it's like a kick of adrenaline. It's a kick of energy. It's a kick of like creativity. And as you continue to move on and um, continue to do it each and every week, you kind of like lose a little bit of that like dopamine, right? It becomes a habit. It becomes what you're used to. This podcast has kind of been in that in a similar sense. And I realize like for me to continue to grow it though, I have to go beyond just my weekly processes. I have to grow upon that. And I think you have to, it's okay to feel worn out sometimes and burn out. It really is. Because I think that's just a sign that you're trying to grow. And it's a sign that you're trying to develop yourself. And maybe you don't know what you need to do, but it's an opportunity for you to do some soul searching and kind of slow things down and really recognize like, okay, why am I feeling this way? Why do I feel overwhelmed? And that's exactly it. Another thing that I recognized through these past 2 weeks is doing things for other people's admiration or other people's approval is not going to get you anywhere. I was in a situation this week where, I've been going to the gym for a while now, right? Like over a year, and like actually training. And, I just ran that mini marathon, and, in my head, I'm just like, okay, I am completely like on it. I feel really confident within myself. Running that marathon was crazy because I do not run, but I did it that day. And I conquered that Indy Mini, that half marathon, which next year will be a full marathon. You quote me on it. Flying pig, I'm coming for you. But that gave me a big boost of confidence within myself. And I also saw, people close to me who also praised me. And, even on social media, my wife had posted about it, and, seeing people post on there, and just anytime anyone saw me, they were like, hey, congrats on that. And I was like, oh man, this is nice. When people were like, okay, good job, like, I don't know, getting some praise, that's always a good feeling. And there's a duality to that, because when you don't get praise, or when that praise goes away, you start taking away from the achievement that you've done. And also, if you, I had a situation where I was like challenged physically, like someone didn't think I was capable of doing something. And it was someone I care about and like look up to. And, they know I just ran a mini marathon, and still I was just being questioned about like something that seemed rudimentary to me. And I took it personal. And I think I took it personal because I wanted that person to appreciate me and like be proud of me. And, I was just so surprised that, I could do all these things to try to prove myself to other people. And that person doesn't think that that's enough. And it was someone I really care about. And that pissed me off to no extent. And I realized in that moment, because I had vented to somebody, my sister, actually, of all people, I vented to her about it. And I realized that, I shouldn't be doing things. I shouldn't ever expect to be doing something for someone else's approval. I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. I know the direction I'm going. And I cannot let other people, even people that you love dearly, if you really feel like you're moving in the right direction and you're seeing progress within yourself, and, it could be husband, wife, it could be brother, sister, it could be your mom, dad, whatever. If you really feel like you're growing inside and you see a destination, if you see like the future and it's bright, and it's because you're doing the steps you're doing, and like the just the freaking grind it's taking to be who you want to be. You can't let yourself be brought down because someone you admire or someone you want approval from doesn't give it to you. You approve of it. You know the steps you're taking. You know the grind that you're putting in. You have to have some self-love. Some real self-love to recognize that, like, what you're doing is exactly what you should be doing. And your grind is your grind. Your pursuits are your pursuits. Don't let anyone ever take away from your accomplishments, your journey. And we all go at different paces. Fuck them. If they think that they're better or whatever, fuck them. You take the path that you need to at whatever pace it needs to be, because you have a goal in mind that they don't have. You're going to accomplish what you want to accomplish the way you want to accomplish it. And, after I started thinking about it, I was like, you know what? Like, I don't care about what others think. That goes back to the, like, comparison is the thief of joy. I realized, like, part of my anxiety the past 2 weeks has just been on, like, what other people thought of me. And I realized, like, where did my confidence go? Where did my self-confidence go? It's so important. It's so important to foundationally have that self-confidence, that self-love, to override what others think of you. If you don't have that and you're just living, with, what does this person think? That almost like a life of fear, you have to do something to love yourself. You have to find that. You have to find, like, a passion, a goal, and you have to realize that you're working towards that at your pace. Doesn't matter what it is. No one will know what you're going through or the struggles you have, and no one will know the small wins you make. You don't have to tell a single soul. You know the wins that you're making. Whether it's walking on a treadmill for a mile, whether it's walking on a treadmill for 10 minutes, whether it's doing whatever it is. If you're working on yourself 5 minutes a day, you grow that. Then we're doing 7 minutes. Then we're doing 10 minutes. Then we're doing 15. All right? Just because someone else is doing something differently doesn't mean you're doing it the wrong way. And you need to have confidence within yourself that what you're doing is in line with what you want to be and what you want to do. Don't let other people take your happiness. And I needed that little humbling moment that, I realized I was actually very insecure and that I was not confident to just cut out the noise and focus on myself. I let someone else's judgment or words affect me in a way that shouldn't have affected me, because I lost track of who I am and who you are. So, we are all in this together, right? You know your support. You know the people who truly support you. And I think it's important to keep those people close and, value their opinion, but don't necessarily let it take away from your happiness or, your pursuit. Only you know how to do things the way that you need to do it. Have the confidence within that and, start striving for, that self-confidence and that self-love to be able to surpass what others think. That's all I really stress about today's message is, don't ever look for someone else's happiness to dictate your happiness or someone else's image of you as your image of you. Everyone has problems. Everyone else is at a different stage in their life. And, you only get to control your life and where you're at. So don't get caught up in the noise. Focus, be confident, have that self-love, and start taking care of some shit. So anyways, as I get back to it, about the 20th/21st episode, I'm so excited, guys. This whole podcast was kind of just started on a whim with an idea. And, it's been, again, 20 weeks of podcasts, technically 22 weeks of existing. And 21st episode is a big monument for me to be within that top 1%. I always was someone who would start something in the beginning and, have motivation, have creativity for that 3 weeks, and just quit. But with consistency and dedication for something, we made this bitch work. We are at 20 episodes and 21 next week. I am so grateful for everyone. And I hope, honestly, from the bottom of my heart that, this is a podcast you turn on once a week and you're able to relate on a human level with someone else. Even my interviews, I really try not to make them very formal. I want it to feel like you are in the room with me and you are just having a conversation along with me. I like to understand people. I like to get a background. I like to understand how people started, from, an example of Tim's episode, he was a farmer's kid, he was, I think, 12 or something like that, driving cars. He was walking the beans. He was doing things that, are way different than what he's doing now. And that's what I think is so cool about his story is that, he grew up on a farm and, he went from being on a farm to owning a business to, growing that to becoming, a great sales rep in multiple states for another company that was a direct segue from his current business. And then after that started another business. Just because you started somewhere doesn't mean that you are going to end up in the same place. But because we take away our experiences from everything, he kept his work ethic that he had on that farm. From a very young age, he had a work ethic, and that never escaped him. And it's important to realize that, everything you do in your life, it's all about learning and growing from each experience. And, I love that. I love that. And I love hearing how people's experiences shape them and all the important milestones and important life events that can alter the way that they think or alter the way that they change career, change mindset, whatever it may be. I want to continue doing that. And I hope to get a full lineup here ready soon, weeks in advance. I think we might have to segue into some virtual interviews, which I will make sure to be as interesting as always. But I hope you guys are enjoying this. And, we're going to change up the release episode or the release time, as I kind of hinted at. I want to get more analytics. I want to keep working hard to kind of figure out what you guys like. And honestly, any feedback helps. And, without you guys and the feedback, I'm flying blind. So I appreciate each and every one of you. Next week, we'll be doing a giveaway from Twisted Twigs. This bag in the corner, I won't even tell you what it is, but it's full of goodies. You'll have to tune in next week to learn how to get that giveaway. But shout out Twisted Twigs girls. They make the best products in the business. Make sure to go check them out. It is not a paid sponsor, but it's a very easy way for me to support such a great business and loving people over there. So tune in next week. Find out how to get the giveaway. And that will be on YouTube. But with that, guys, all I can say is just don't let other people's opinions dictate how you feel. And, do something today to build up your self-confidence, that self-love. There's something that, if you could see yourself from someone else's point of view, you'd be so nice to yourself. All your accomplishments, you don't see them as a big deal, but in the grand scheme of things, other people respect you for it. And find that self-love to be like, you know what, like I have done a lot. I don't even care if you make no money. I don't care if you are not in the best shape. There's been things in your life that have been hard, and times that you locked in and took care of business, and you know what you're capable of. Don't short your achievements. Love yourself. Find that self-love, and that will birth confidence. I promise you. So with that, thank you guys so much. Tune in next week, and I hope you guys have a great week. All right, see ya.